Greetings. We're back. Episode 108. Fun one today, man. We got into it. We covered some ground, as they say. We start off with two big movie reviews. Happy we got around to that. I finally caught Saltburn, and much to Grant's chagrin, I also caught Poor Things in the theater. So no spoilers on either of them, just my thoughts. Then we get into Frieren, episode 18, Solo Leveling, episode 2. Grant caught the pilot of Metallic Rouge. And then we do Scott Pilgrim Takes Off. True Detective, season 4, had their pilot. I caught that. Talk a little bit about The Wire, and then we close on the Emmys, because it is award season. So we talk, we kind of mentioned Golden Globes, Critics' Choice Awards, Emmy Awards. It kind of lumps all together, and so we give our take on all that stuff, and we'll probably do the same for the Oscars when it's time for that. So thank you for listening, and enjoy. Oh, hey there, Grant.
Hey, Dave. How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm wiped. It's Tuesday.
Man. Tuesday's the new Monday.
Yeah, but you're starting holidays.
Yes, sir.
You're gonna get a lot of. What do you think you're gonna do more of? Video gaming or anime watching?
Both. I have my sights are set on the next Yakuza game, or Like a Dragon game comes out, and which I'm very, very much looking forward to. Probably one of my most anticipated games for the year.
Nice.
So that doesn't come out for another 10 days. So I'm gonna try and put some effort into some anime. There's a lot of new shows. I think next week I'm hoping to have like my full seasonal report of my usual shtick there. But there's a lot of stuff still on and backlogs. I think Cowboy Bebop. I think I have to finish it now. So that's kind of like my goal.
It's weird. My own backlog is kind of growing. I can't, of course, in the moment, like name anything for you, but it does seem like a slightly slower season, and I kind of want to keep it that way because there's like some historical shows that I really want to get to.
Yeah.
Don't get too excited because I'm not committing to anything, but like just seeing how excited everybody is about that Dotoro show getting a second season.
Yeah, dude.
It's like the animation style just didn't seem like my thing, but like maybe
I don't think it's anyone's thing though. But
that's the thing.
Yeah.
If I watched all of Studio Orange there,
try again.
Yeah, and like I didn't love it, but like I liked the show. It's like maybe I could just suck it up and watch it, And
it's weird. It's weird. It's a fun ride.
And, like, I never finished Odd Taxi, you know what I mean? Or, like,
just watch Odd Taxi.
Fate, there's a Fate series I want to look at. Anyway, there's all these shows I want to check out. But I want to take a left turn here, because I actually want to start us off not on anime.
Okay.
Because, dude, I had, like, a Grant weekend. I watched movies. Not only did I watch movies, plural, but I watched two, like, relevant zeitgeist movies that are in pop culture, that are topical, and like I never do that.
I have a hunch on one of them.
Yeah, okay, so I'll tell you first. I watched Saltburn first.
You feel gross or what?
I have some thoughts, dude.
Bronson gave me a pretty good rundown on it too.
So you have not seen it, eh?
No, I got no interest in it.
Yeah, okay. So, all right. I'm not going to spoil anything. Go ahead.
Yeah. If you're okay, if you don't want to spoil for the listeners, that's one thing. If you don't want to spoil me, have at it. I listened to a full movie rundown on it. I know the whole beats of the movie. So
I'm not going to spoil for the listeners because you have to hear me out here.
Sure.
I think number one, I understand why this movie is controversial. Like I definitely get it. I think, but also what I want to preface is that like this is not like a bad movie. Like, it's just not. I don't think it's bad. I think where they had trouble is, like, it's like one of those things, like, when you take a big swing and, like, like, they did not whiff on it. But they definitely didn't, like, hit a home run kind of thing.
Still took a swing, though, right?
Yeah. But I think, like, the bigger you swing sometimes, and if it does not pay off like 100% of the time, you kind of end up with a bit of egg on your face.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And I think that's kind of the story of this movie, because like I think this is a better than average movie in some ways, but like in other ways, it's like I don't know what they were thinking here. Some of it feels like they were being gratuitous for gratuitous sake. I don't know. Okay. There
was a lot of improv, I believe. I had
really?
read and heard that some of the like the very gratuitous scenes, I think specifically the one towards the end, was improvised.
Interesting.
So some of it's built in, but then I think that kind of improvisation kind of comes from how it's written, right? Like it definitely bounces off what was originally there. So like it's not like it's that far off from what was going to be there no matter what.
And they chose to put it in the movie. You know what I mean? Like
sure.
A lot, I've heard crazy stories of people doing stuff and like improv and ad-libbing crazy lines and stuff, but like it comes down to the filmmakers. Like if it's part of your vision, it either goes in the movie or it doesn't. I think one thing I'll say is like aesthetically and the cinematography of the movie is like it is very legit. It is an incredibly pretty movie to look at. You could almost argue like they may have done too much. Like the whole movie, the aspect ratio, like they made a choice with. It looks, frankly, like the whole movie looks like it's shot for like Instagram reels. Like it looks in like this, it's this squashed, boxy aspect ratio, and just the framing of the movie is so great. The use of color is so great, but it's just very it's very artsy. Like you look at it.
Is the movie black-barred on either side?
Yeah.
Oh, or sorry, is it left right black-barred?
Left right.
Oh shit! Okay,
and
I did not know that actually.
And like they use it, they use it like actually effectively. Like the framing in the movie is gorgeous. Some of the shots are gorgeous, and like it's like okay, like whoever shot the movie definitely knew what they were doing. How they staged characters, they absolutely knew what they were doing. The performances are okay. Rosamund Pike steals every scene.
She's a real one, yeah.
Every scene she's in, she fucking crushes. She's unbelievable in this movie.
Definitely in my like top 5 of like one of the most underutilized actors in Hollywood. Like anything she's in, she kind of just she has such a presence to her. Like she can play the heavy. She can play like the sympathetic lead. Like she's very good. Like Gone Girl is all time.
The first movie I ever saw her in was Gone Girl, and it left such a mark. I was like, oh fuck. And she couldn't be more different in this movie, and crushes. I think there's some good twists and turns. So cinematography great, Rosamund Pike great, everybody else decent. I think overall I'm glad that this movie like existed and that it was controversial, because like it brought attention to the movie, and I think it like creates more space for like more weird movies, and like I don't think that's a bad thing. I think like my main problem with it is like one of the biggest scenes is like this like controversial nudity involving ending scene that they have, and it definitely does nothing for like it truly feels
no substance to the overall.
No, absolutely not. And like when you end on a note like that, it's very much like a what have you done for me lately kind of a thing, right? When you review movies, like if you don't like the ending, like we've talked about this a million times on shows and in anime, if you don't like the ending, like you jeopardize the journey.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And it's like when you end on like such a weird note that just feels like, oh, this is very challenging and like artsy and like gratuitous, but like not with a ton of substance. It makes all the other weird shit that you did earlier be like, well, did they
feels less than
they diminish their own scenes, because there are some fucking scenes in this movie that are so gross that I had a hard time watching them, but I'm like, but I was almost, I don't want to say impressed, but it was like, oh, like this is a challenging watch in a way that I'm not used to, and it made me uncomfortable, but like they were trying to make me uncomfortable, and like in that moment I was like, oh, like mission accomplished, you have made me uncomfortable. And then the ending, I was like, what? Yeah, I don't know, a couple pacing issues. The third act is like, it's all in the execution, and I think they waver just a little bit at the ending, but like most of it worked for me. Good movie, not great, overshadowed a little bit by like them deciding to like steer into the skid. It felt like they decided to make a couple of these choices, and it like kind of maybe jeopardized the movie for me a little bit. I don't know. Good, not great.
You know what though? Like,
would have been a good theater watch, I bet.
Oh yeah. Especially if no one knew it was coming. It was funny because like I listened to a lot of the like some of the movie podcasts. There are some of the bigger ones, and the general consensus is like people either like fucking hate it or they're like, this is like elevated, like, and it's so funny because like it very rarely is either one of those. Like usually it's like kind of right down the middle of that. When it's so polar on both sides and you hear about nothing in the middle, it's usually in the middle. But yeah, I don't know. It's
pretty to look at. I get why like some people are like, oh, it's so like I get it. Like I definitely get where they're coming from.
I heard it's like specifically for you and I, like our age group, like it is kind of like a millennial movie.
Yeah, for
sure.
They
very much like they did a good job capturing a moment in time from what I've heard in the movie. Like
I agree with that
the
too.
Music, what was definitely because it's set in overseas there in Europe.
Yeah, I think so. I forget where.
Britain,
yeah.
Anyways. But yeah, I don't know. So like I think the best thing for me personally that's come out of this movie is like because it came out just before Christmas. Everyone on Prime, everyone's going home. Everyone's watching these movies. There's just all these compilations of like people like sitting like making their grandmother and their aunt watch it, and or like aunt and uncles and stuff like that, and like your older parents. So some of that stuff is great. So like I've seen there's the one I think like the big scene.
Oh, because there's
shock scene in the movie. The one though, like I think the.
The
tub scene. There's a tub scene.
Yeah.
It's literally every time I see one of these clips, it's that scene.
There's a couple though.
Yeah, it's.
Oh. There's a different one too that bothered me just as much as that.
What was the other movie you watched?
In the theater, we saw Poor Things.
Oh. Is it good? Tell me it's good.
Why are you upset?
I want to see it so bad, dude.
Oh, really?
It's like probably the movie I want to see the most right now. That and Anatomy of a Fall.
Yeah. Oscar contending giant movie. I will not spoil anything from you. So I'm not an Emma Stone expert. I don't know everything on her IMDb page or her discography or her body of work, what do you call it? But I have never seen her do anything like this.
Really?
Range, like it's one of those things. I saw somebody going on a rant about it, about like people don't realize like the things she's won awards for, like the parts are all over the place because she has range, and this one in particular is like I just can't believe how well it worked out. Like so this is a very good movie, like it's extremely good, and just the pitch on it, dude, like the elevator pitch on what this movie is, and like if I had to tell you verbally how Emma Stone plays it, like it just sounds risky. It seems like there's an 80% chance this is like a dog shit movie with a real bad performance, and like somehow it's a fantastic movie with an even better performance. It's unbelievable.
But that's the thing. I think like like I hear something like this. Like I know it's a Yorgos Lanthimos movie. I'm like it's gonna be weird. Like like so the for like the film heads, like the expectation is like this movie is gonna be. It's going to be something, but like, the general audiences, people that just kind of either walk into a theater or what have you, like it's hard to reach those people for something like this. So, and it's, I don't think it hasn't had a huge release yet.
No.
But I don't know. I'm so excited to see it.
Mark Ruffalo is about as loose as I've ever seen him.
Oh yeah.
Having probably it appears as though he's having a lot of fun. Like,
good.
I think he lost himself in it, and it's. I don't mean this in a degrading or overly critical way, but like part of the dialogue is so damn specific in the way it's written. Like, it's just hard to parse at times. You always know what they mean, but they talk kind of backwards. Emma Stone's character is kind of learning communication as the movie progresses, but even like. Mark Ruffalo's like villainy British, he's kind of like playing like almost like a British bad guy, but like kind of a funny take on one at times. He's like, what? No, I would not believe this. Like, dude, that's literally how he sounds in the movie, and it's fucking hilarious the whole time. And you're like, is he bad at British accents, or is he so good at British accents that like he's doing this specific take on it? Because he knows everything that comes out of his mouth is ludicrous. You know what I mean? It's like he's either playing 4D chess or playing checkers, but it kind of doesn't matter because it just works beautifully across the screen from Emma Stone.
I've heard a couple people say, and if you haven't seen the movie, like, you might not get the reference, but I have heard a couple things, Mark Ruffalo to Alan Rickman in the Robin Hood movie.
Oh, okay.
The one he did with, like, again, like, it was just such a, the making of the movie was such a nightmare. Like, Kevin Costner didn't even, like, attempt to learn, like, a British accent.
Yeah.
Just, like, gives up halfway through. And, like, the stories like Alan Rickman's just like, fuck it, I'm Alan Rickman. I'm gonna do my thing. And, like, this is gonna, it's, like, cheesy dialogue, but, like, I'm gonna crush. And, like, there's, like, a kind of, like, a fun, you know, kind of villainy thing to it. I've heard that from, you know, a couple people.
I haven't seen that movie, but
it's an okay movie. But anyway, the point being, like, you know, sometimes you just gotta have fun with the villain role, right? Like,
yeah, and like, you know, Oscar noms aren't out yet, but I think a nomination
on the list,
a supporting nomination for him, it makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Like,
well, she's one of the front runners for best actress.
Physical role from Emma Stone, like watch her body as much as you watch how she executes a lot of this stuff. Like, she fucking extremely impressive performance from her. Loved Mark Ruffalo. Set design, costumes, all great. I just don't really have a ton of complaints, other than, like, you know, this is just really the state of things these days. Just every movie feels like it has to be 2 hours 20 minutes, whatever. Not super complaining. The only gripe I sincerely had, and I'm really curious to hear your thoughts on this, was they made a bold and hyper specific choice with the soundtrack. And I think just have earplugs, for you especially, have earplugs handy. You won't need them for the whole movie, but there were times in that theater where I had to plug my own ears. And
you see it in local rep theater, or do you see it at one of the chains?
At the VIP thing.
Okay, shit. So it's got a bigger run.
Yeah, but, like,
fuck.
Yeah, there were a few moments there where I'd be like, okay, hold on, this is fucking unbelievable.
Yeah.
But, like, you know, they made a choice. I don't know. The amount of nudity is fucking staggering. I will tell you that too.
I've heard as much.
I did not I gotta say, both Saltburn and Poor Things, dude, I think I saw, you know, half a trailer for both of them 3 or 4 months ago, so I kind of went into these Zero Dark Grant style, and I might just do that going forward.
Yeah, I can't remember the last time. I think the last movie trailer I watched was Civil War, but it was only like 40 seconds. I was like, I need to see Clements do his thing, you know, for whatever. But I don't watch movie trailers.
I was so pleased to not know what the fuck was coming, and that, like, so much of this was just, like, so surprising. I was like, oh, like, I feel like I'm going on a journey with this. I haven't seen 40% of the movie in fucking trailers. So anyway, that's my rant. 2 great movies. Well, I mean, you know, one good movie that's, like, on Prime. Watch it if you want to burn an afternoon or you got a lazy Sunday. That's Saltburn. Yeah. But, like, I would say if you're a movie fan, prioritize Poor Things, preferably in theaters.
Well, so that's the thing now. I'm wondering, because I didn't realize Poor Things was playing, because we're, Leanna and I are doing, we're doing a movie night this weekend in the big city. And it was between total polar opposites. The Boy and the Heron.
Yeah.
Or The Zone of Interest, which is, like, heavy Holocaust movie. So, like, I don't know. But if Poor Things is playing, I might try and...
Poor Things is probably the funnest, though I don't know anything really about Boy and the Heron.
Yeah. But, damn. Fuck. Poor Things.
Sorry,
dog. I got some research to do. I'm so excited. That's Dave. I never, honestly, not in a million years would have guessed that came out of your mouth.
Right? It was pretty funny. I had this shit-eating grin at the end of the movie. Sam's like, you really liked it? I was like, yeah, but also Grant's going to be shocked that I saw this.
What'd Sam think?
I think she liked Saltburn a little more than I did. I think we both gave it like a 7 or something. You know what I mean? Like, you watch it, like, try not to get caught up in, like, the conversation.
Sure.
And we both really, really liked Poor Things. Like, you know, 8, 9-ish territory for sure.
Fucking A. His last movie with her, actually, The Favorite.
Yes, which I hadn't seen, but I think she had.
So good. So I remember, like, we were watching it too, and it was like, I think it was like my third like costume drama or historical costume drama in like a week, and Leanna's like, why are you watching all these like you know, like 1700s eras movies and all that? But the Favorite was the one she liked. She took that one. But
damn, bruh.
Fuck.
All right. Okay.
Anime? A little bit of anime?
Yeah, sure. What do you got?
Do we want to hit Frieren quick, or do we want to talk about a couple new shows?
Let's do
one new show, rather.
Let's do Frieren first.
All right.
Did you know the male elf, like Frieren's an elf, right?
Yeah.
It's episode 18 of Frieren, by the way, for the listener. Did you know that the male guy, the monk, is Zeke's voice actor?
Wow.
Yeah.
I would guess. Zeke was such a nasally performance. It's kind of, it's a very specific, it's hard to pick up.
Yeah, I only picked up this episode, but let me jog my memory. What happened in this episode, Grant?
This is, they finally get to the city in the north there, the Alberst, and they're doing the certification test for the first grade sorcerer business there, but
it seems like they're setting up a whole arc here, right?
Well, yeah, there's only 5 episodes left, or
so
6. Yeah, 6 left.
I'm guessing like the rest of the season is like we make it through the certification, maybe get on the other side of Alberst, and that's probably it.
Yeah, I think so. Like this, the way that they did, because even then they end this episode, and I don't even think they complete the first task, right? So yeah, probably about 3 or 4 maybe, and then do like a wrap up too. But I liked it. It's so funny because this is the closest. I think our biggest comparison to Frieren so far has been Mushoku Tensei.
Yeah, I would agree
and they've been so drastically far apart with little similarities here and there. I.e. like magic and fantasy and whatnot. But this is the closest they've kind of like briskly touched each other in like kind of like theming, or just more like scenario wise, like the school with Mushoku Tensei this season and
good point.
The exams and testing, but. It's such a weird, like, this is not an explosive episode, but there's just so many fucking like little things throughout the whole thing that I'm just blown away at, like, just the way the show fires, right? Like, it's so good. There's also too, I didn't realize there's a trope that you don't think about very often, but the reveal of like a bunch of characters, like we saw it in like Demon Slayer when they were showing off not the Shearers, but like the upper moons. They're like all like faded out in the background.
Yeah.
They did this shot with like all like the first grade mages. There's only like 7 of them or something or the original 7 or whatever it is. And it's just like when that's like done well and like kind of like looks epic and everything's kind of spaced out. It's just a funny thing. It's a good anime trope.
I also like that we've met a like violent, bloody mage that like it's good to see like
not all are good.
Yes, in a show that's like so beautifully wholesome and genuine, and all the characters are. It's like I want to see somebody fucking violent and like the antithesis of like what Frieren is. And I'm not saying that's who Ubel is because she's been on screen for 10 minutes, but like seems like a fun character. Like maybe throw a monkey wrench into some things. Also, did you know Fern was what was it? The youngest mage to ever receive the third class?
Third class. Yeah, I don't remember. I feel like maybe the priest made a comment about that.
Our boy,
but it was a good reminder. I thought the Ubel scene was like really interesting because excellent usage of the monk graft.
Yeah, I agree.
Like they really set up like. Like he kind of scares him off or whatever, and just like the back and forth between the two of them, it's just like the total tone change of him being like, those are killer's eyes, and then the set of like, oh, that's in. You immediately think of like. Oh, he did it to save them, and then it's explained. You're like, oh, okay, like I see. It was a really good setup for her character without her having to say anything. Like it was other people's actions revealed her potential actions. So, but I don't know, and just the stuff at the end of the episode is great with Frieren having to kind of parent the other 2 girls, and they did a really good job of like the returning gag of them like fucking wrestling and fighting. But like every time it happens, she's slowly discovering more about them without them having to say anything. Like she's putting the pieces together herself. It's show don't tell, right? Like it's just it's like the show. It's incredible how it continues to keep doing this.
Yeah, I agree. I like that we've really shaken things up and that we have a shitload of new characters to get to know, and we've got a whole thing to do. So yeah, it seems like a good setup to a new arc, and yeah.
A little bit of like info dumping. Like there was when they're all in the hall. Kind of like having their teams announce, or they're kind of going over the rules. There was like inner dialogue taking place at the bottom, and there was like I really wanted to see both. Like I had to watch the scene twice.
Yeah, I feel that
because I wanted to know what the guy, the proctor was saying. But
now you mentioned Mushoku Tensei, and it made me realize like Frieren will be done, and like we probably won't have a major break until core 2 of Mushoku, will we?
For what? For like fantasy type shows?
Yeah, that's what I meant. Sorry.
Yeah, I suppose so.
What do you know when that's supposed to come?
I think it's supposed to be spring.
Yeah, okay. So like,
I think they said spring.
Though I will say, just in the vein of anime shows, I did catch the second episode of Solo Leveling.
As did I.
Okay, so I'm curious about this. Like, I've read, not intentionally, that like the quote hook of the show is still like a couple episodes out, which is interesting to me. And then like, you had mentioned like you've seen this kind of like 1,000 times, and I saw. Do you see this post that was like high up on anime the other day? It's like, why is this shit so popular?
Yeah.
I didn't. It reminds me a bit of this is probably a shit comparison, but it reminds me a bit of just like kind of like Blue Lock. Like there's this giant fan base behind this thing. It finally gets the anime adaptation, and it's like I'm just so out of the loop. And sometimes I think this is evidence of like it might be good to stay out of the loop. You know what I mean? Like,
sure.
I kind of just want to watch it without people breathing down my neck about it. But I don't know. This was like surprisingly bloody.
I was gonna say. So I was pretty hard on it last week.
Yeah.
And so this episode clicked. Like I not that I get it, but there was a lot of like obvious evidence now of being like of what this can be and what this probably will be.
Right.
So I went back and I rewatched the pilot.
Yeah.
And I think it's just a bad pilot. I think it's just not. It's a little unclear, and they kind of jam in a little too much of the world building. Which again, it's pilots. We said 100 times pilots are hard.
You know what they say about pilots, dude.
Exactly. So like, like I said, I don't think it's to belittle or like not the level that the show can be. I think it's just like I said, I think it was just not a great pilot. But I really like what they did in this episode. Again, the violence and the gore was like, whoa, okay, all right, I'm looking, I'm seeing,
a lot of death too.
A lot of death, but it was another good thing. Again, it's not on like Frieren levels, but there's the whole thing in this episode where I don't know anyone's names.
No, me neither.
There's a lot of name throwing around.
Yeah.
In this episode, and the previous one too. It's hard to like lock on, but the main character, he kind of like when he puts the puzzle together, or like the essentially like the rules of the trap or whatever, and he's kind of putting it together. They did like a really good job of like there's just a lot of commotion and noise and literal action going on around him,
mayhem around him while he's
and they did a good job of like isolating him and also including that and like him kind of putting it together. I thought that was like, I think that was the moment of like, oh, okay, this show has something. Like it's not just like we draw swords and stab, like it's not just like your generic. I think there is just a little more substance than I think the first episode ever even hinted at. So it was cool. So like I've seen the screen grab and like the fan art of that evil smile for years now.
Oh, really? It's almost like Titan-like, eh?
Yeah,
like,
the god. So like that god character.
Yeah.
So to see that kind of play out of like, oh, the context. That's it's kind of cool. Like, it's yeah. So it's very interesting. It's other stuff like for years like I've seen art and I had no idea had any association to Chainsaw Man, and then I read it and I was like, oh. And now I know what that random art is on the internet that I see all the time. And same thing for like AOT and like all these shows. It's just like one of those moments. You're like, that's the thing.
Check.
Check.
Yeah, one of mine.
Yeah.
One of mine was for a long time was the frame. It is beautiful. The framed shot of Kowaru from. Why? Hear the pronunciation on me there?
Yeah.
That sounds nuts. I could do it more white. Kowaru from Neon Genesis.
Okay.
They're sleeping side by side, him and Shinji, and he says, "Maybe I was born to meet you." That was great. It's crazy how big of an impact he had on that series, despite only being in a couple episodes. But anyway, it is always kind of neat when you like connect the dots and you say, "Oh, there's the thing."
That's the thing.
But all that to say, I'll keep watching. Will you keep watching?
I think so. Yeah.
I mean, until we don't want to, right? It's like one of those things.
It is, it's funny because also the Reddit algorithm has gotten like way more aggressive when it comes to. It feels like the moment I watch a show, like I'm getting recommendations for the solo leveling like comparison, like the manhwa to the adaptation.
Yeah.
So I've been going through. I looked at episode 1s and then episode 2 as well, and it's kind of cool to see like because the manhwas are Korean and they have a very specific art style as well, and to see the like. I believe there is Korean studios involved with this as well, but it is Japanese as well, and it's interesting to see like what they take, like what they keep and what they don't.
Yeah,
like how certain angles aren't as sharp, and it is like a good blend of the two different styles, which is not something you see all that often. I know a lot of people said that with Tower of God too, or Tower of God or God High School, one of the two. But
never saw either.
No, I didn't either, but I know one of them and both might be manhwas, but. Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I think there was a little bit of like personal redemption of like, oh, okay, I think we have like a good show to keep going. And I was talking to Joey over the weekend, and he had read the series as well. And when Joe was like, stick around, and like, I'm like, okay, all right, we'll see. Because I told him like everything I told you last week about episode 1, I regaled to him too, and he was like. Yeah. He's like, but like, keep watching. And I'm like, all right, we'll see. So, and then the gaming, like, there's like a game element now.
That has to be.
So
that
I'm like curious. I don't love it, but I'm curious.
Me neither. I'm generally speaking kind of steer clear of that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I did like sincerely really enjoy that second episode. It's like, okay, like. I have to see where it goes from here, like cliffhanger and all that. So it's like, no, I gotta see episode 3. I'm in.
Yeah. Also, like the heightened panic of like them all kind of bailing on him, I thought was really well done. Like people just like putting it together and like, how quick people are to turn on each other. I thought that was like it felt very genuine. It didn't feel underwritten or it just felt just written.
I remember. Yeah. Do you remember season 1? I keep cutting you off. Sorry. Season 1 of Attack on Titan, like that first time the walls are breached. Yeah. It's like all the new scouts, like they kind of just panic and like they're like it's like fish in a bucket for the Titan. Like all the new recruits and low level people, like they just die. Like when shit hits the fan, right? Your inexperience kind of shows, and that it felt like they've lost control of the situation. Leadership is dying, like it's falling to this like young kid with the least amount of experience who's like putting the puzzle pieces together. Of course people aren't listening, there's casualties, mayhem, and like you said, they captured that very well, so, and that's hard to do, so I'm gonna keep watching.
Yes, sir.
What else you watching? You said you saw some new pilots.
I checked out one. I didn't have a lot of week. Okay. Or I didn't have enough time to catch a lot of stuff. A lot of week. I checked out the Bones show, Metallic Rouge. It's an original story. Okay. This was like very high on my list of like for anticipated for the year, and it had me 3/4 of the way. I was really into it. Vivi vibes, like futuristic sci-fi. It takes place on Mars.
Don't
so
throw
far.
That name around lightly.
No, I know. But very, like it's more Blade Runner than it is Vivi. Sure. Very like wears that on its sleeve, big time. So there's like even like the opening, like they like it feels like a very Western show. Like I said, it's original, so it's not like it's doing an adaptation of anything. So like the Metallic Rouge comes up on the screen. I was like, is that the fucking Blade Runner font? Like it's like that, and then like kind of rain-soaked city, or kind of like torch city, like in Blade Runner 2049, like when they go, Gosling goes out in the desert looking for Han Solo there, so good. And just like kind of like the sandscape, like the deadness of LA, and
that movie is still not properly rated.
No.
Like, it's still not properly appreciated how goddamn beautiful that movie was.
Dude.
I mean, they won for, like,
I got the 4K waiting for us one day. You just come over, we throw on the 4K, just we get the sound going, just freaking blast.
We wear tie-dye onesies and...
Yeah, man.
Take psychedelics and turn that fucking thing on? Jesus.
Yeah, I'll do that all weekend. We'll watch 3 times.
Oh my god, yeah.
No, I don't know, like, the show kind of oozed like that kind of style.
That's
and
dope.
It was very well executed. Mm-hmm. And so it isn't like a mecha show. So like, there's like...
It is or is not?
It is. So, okay. And I kind of knew that going in, there's going to be like power suits of some sort. and so when it kind of tease up that like, okay, it's like it's armor time, like, you find out the only thing that reminds me of Vivi is like there's people, and then like the android servants. I guess it's similar to Blade Runner, but like they're kind of turning on them in some way. Like there's like the Asimov law, like it's straight up mentioned in this.
Oh, okay.
Like no one can attack humans, or they can't disobey humans. I think it's a little tweaked, but anyways. So you find out like a bunch of people are like all the main characters of the show. They're all these androids. They can kind of like go outside of the rules maybe, but it ends up being like, robots are thrown down with robots, and the power suits kind of come on, and the art style kind of loses me. Like I know people have, like are saying like, oh, it's like Kamen Rider meets Blade Runner, which is like cool in theory, but I don't love the designs. But to its credit, it's 2D animation. Like they're not doing like 3D mech suits. Like they're not. So like, and it is Studio Bones. Like like say what you want about My Hero, when the Sakuga is present, when they go for it, it's it's through the roof. Mob Psycho alone, like they are an incredibly talented studio.
No one does mech stuff 2D anymore. Like every studio.
The only other one would be Witch From Mercury in recent memory, and that was like but that was like that's like a 10 out of 10. This feels it's a pilot episode. They don't fully dial in.
Didn't Witch From Mercury have like 3D elements though? No CG whatsoever.
All the mech stuff was hand drawn.
Fuck.
If there was, it was like kind of like background, like like a still shot. But like when it came to action and movement, it was all 2D.
Damn.
So like like I don't know, like I'm gonna watch at least a couple episodes just to see, because like I said, that first 3/4 of the episode was like, oh, this might be like one of our shows. Very similar to Licorice Recoil. I actually think the main character is Chisato.
Oh, really?
A voice match. So I had the headphones on when I was listening to it, and first thing I picked up on was like, oh, I recognize that voice. But I don't know. It's like it is cool.
That's a cool name.
Great name. Original anime. You and I love that. So I was kind of hoping this was going to be like a Licorice Recoil situation, but it's at the very least it's an easy pilot to watch, but
it's a cool name.
Yeah, great name, great concept. It just the second they introduced like the first mech suit, and they're not big. It's like people size. Like it's not like huge in scale. It's like So it's a little easier to track and all that, but
like a Mega Man suit.
Like a Mega Man suit, yes, exactly. And they introduced it like 12 minutes in. I was kind of like, oh, okay, maybe it's just this one. And then like towards the end, you see a second, and then you see a third, and then the ED, you see like a fourth and a fifth, and you're kind of like, fuck, okay. Well, I think that's just the style they're going for. But I don't know. I recommend people check it out. It's like, again, there's a lot of like talked about shows like premiering right now in January, but this seems to be high up there. People seem to be digging it, so but style for sure.
So by the way, just to derail for a quick sec, you meant so Metallic Rouge, I might check it out. I'm in all likelihood I'll wait for you to report back.
Sure.
You mentioned EDs, and it just like set off a thing in my brain. You know that YouTube channel First Take?
Yes.
And we've listened to it, and you sent me, I think it was an
Avril Lavigne.
That blew my head off.
Yeah, huge in Japan.
I had no idea. I watched the whole thing. Sam and I watched it, and I was like, I saw how many views it had. I was like, is this news to you? Like, I had no idea. And I gotta say, like, that was filmed within the last year or so. It was recent.
It was last year. Yeah. She sounds great.
She sounds the exact same.
Yeah, man.
She hasn't missed a fucking beat.
Yeah,
so
100%. She's a real one.
Shout out to Avril Lavigne.
Shout out. If you want to come on, Avril?
And shout out for her like going over there and doing that. That's fucking sick.
That channel
is sick.
Yeah, I sent that to you. I finished editing the podcast. I went downstairs. I was like, Leanna, we're not going to bed yet. And we watched like 5 or 6 of them. Like we just.
Have you seen the one with the? It's where they wear the wolf head.
Yeah, Man with a Mission with Millet.
Yes. What OP is that for? What's the show?
That one's for Demon Slayer. Yeah. Season or the Swordsmith Village.
Oh, that's what it was. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
They wear the.
They just wear that. I had no idea.
That's fucking awesome. Yeah. First Take on YouTube. Just check out that channel. Like all your favorite
huge.
Japanese artists are going there and doing like studio quality recordings.
I did a serious Avril deep dive, man. Like this is not like a recent thing. She is like her number one market is Japan. And she's been going over there for years and years and years. She's huge over there.
I wonder why. Like, I mean, like, you know, why her specifically?
I don't know. Like, I think you know, like, there's, I don't know the genre, but again, I'm piecing this based on a game. But, like, the Yakuza games, or the Like a Dragon games, they're called now, they do, like, they kind of hit all kind of subgenres of, like, you know, groups of people, like, you know, like the Gyaru groups, like the makeup people, and then, like, there's, like, this, like, the rockabilly. That's what I was looking for, the rockabilly stuff. And she kind of has, like, a punk rockabilly look to her, like, you know, like the studs and the leather jackets, and, like, you know, she's a punk and a pop artist, but, like, you know, or originally, you know, pop punk or whatever, but, you know, but I think imagery alone, like, she's kind of bubblegum, and they love that kind of stuff over there. And when I was reading into it, like, every paragraph was like, oh, like, yeah, obviously, yes, you know, it was just, it continued to make more and more sense as I was reading. But yeah, she's over there nonstop. I remember years ago, I was reading something, I found it so weird that she had to set rules for when she was in Japan for meet and greets. And I was like, it's weird that she just had one for Japan. Like, you would think maybe that would be, like, across the board. But, like, she's, like, huge. And I don't know, I thought it was, again, one of the biggest rabbit holes I kind of just fell down in recent memory.
Interesting.
Yeah. I was just sending you clips. I just kept sending, like, oh, check this one and check this one. Like,
no, they're, like, I think I watched them all. They're really, really good.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk, do you have any more anime that you watched, or do you want to talk award shows?
I got Scott Pilgrim, but I think I might say that. The animated show. The anime.
Yeah, sorry.
The anime. Let's not go there. But I think we'll save that for next week, maybe.
Yeah, sure.
But because, like I said, it got me to go back and finish Fooly Cooley.
Really?
So... Okay,
no, let's get into it. Fuck it.
Yeah, okay. So you know,
okay,
like,
wait, it's...
Yeah.
What's it called?
It's Scott... I don't actually know. It has a very specific name. So it's a... Scott Pilgrim Takes Off.
Okay.
So it's done... The studio is Science Saru. They've done a couple of things. Like, a lot of the Pokemon stuff they've done, I think, over the years. But anyway, so it's a... The animation is based off, you know, like the graphic novel. Mm-hmm. So it's not based off the movie. It's a retelling of what takes place in the graphic novel and the movie, but it's kind of like remixed more than like a retelling. Like, they really play with, like, the story and the format. Again, I never read the original graphic novel. I'm not a huge fan. I love the movie. I thought, you know, that came out at the perfect time for us. Like, we were in high school, I think, when that came out.
Never seen it, but agree.
Fair enough. But anyway, so it was just like one of those things, like, you know, I'll jump in. And it's really good, dude. Like, it's the just like they play with the tropes of anime and kind of like animation in general, and just I've never seen a perfect split of, like, two worlds coming together. And, like, again, there's a lot of arguments with this show, and, like, I know it got review bombed to fucking galore just because, like, oh, it's, you know, it's not a real Japanese studio. Like, it is. Like, Science Saru was a Japanese-based studio that worked in tandem with, you know, I'm blanking on his name that made the movie. Edgar Wright and, like, you know, David O'Malley, the guy that wrote it. Like, all the voice actors from the movie, or all the actors from the movie came back to voice their characters.
I heard, yeah, okay, I did
Everyone.
hear that.
No one missed out. They're all there. And I don't know, it was kind of very thoughtful storytelling, and they kind of piece apart a lot of the, maybe not controversial, but stuff that hasn't aged well. Like, there was, like, a weird thing, I guess, in the original graphic novel about Scott was, like, dating a teenager. Like, he's in his early 20s and he's dating, like, a 16-year-old, and kind of, you know, plays with their heart a little bit, you know, falling for the, you know, like the Ramona Flowers there. But I don't know, it's just, they do really cool stuff. The music is dynamite. Like, dynamite. Like, again, it's for Scott Pilgrim. I think you have to kind of crush that. That's, like, one of the key things, like, you have to nail.
Right? Yeah.
And I don't know, it was just, like, a really fun watch. And I saw, you know, Mother's Basement there, Jeff Thew, he was like, this is what the Fooly Cooley sequels wanted to be, but never came close.
Yeah, I never watched the sequels.
Apparently they're awful, like, across the board.
Oh, really?
Like, they try too hard, like, you know, kind of went away from the focus of what it is.
It's funny because the original itself is kind of weird to begin with, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, how do you do more? You just get weirder? That's probably what they tried to do. And...
I don't know if it got weirder. I think maybe they kind of tried to straighten it out a little too much. Like, just like took specific one thing and kind of run with that. But I don't know, man. It's a fun watch. It was an easy watch. It's 10 episodes. You know, like regular.
Is it on Netflix?
It's a Netflix original. It's done with them.
Were you happy with Fooly Cooley?
Yeah. I'm not ready to talk about that.
Sorry,
I would like
funny.
Yeah, I would like to rewatch that
Gotcha.
again.
I think
I watched them two. There's only 6 episodes. Like they're only back. I think it was 2. I watched them 2 back to back, and again, it was my eyes were all fucked up back then. I was literally watching this with one eye open on the couch. You know, my good eye open. But I don't know, man. It was fun, and when I heard the Fooly Cooley thing, I was like, oh, I gotta jump back in, and I was like, oh, I see why this show is kind of, you know, it's not in like the goated status, but it's like kind of like the nerds love it. You know, people like us like love Fooly Cooley, and I get it now. Like it was made for people like you and I.
True say. That's tight, man.
Hardcore emo in high school, and you know,
Fuck yeah,
you know, I don't know. It was a fun ride, but dude, Scott Pilgrim was good. There's like Chris Evans crushes. I
forgot he was even in that. Yeah.
Oh man, he and they do such a good job because then like I didn't read the graphic novel, so I don't know the full story of all these characters, and I don't know how fleshed out they can get. You only have what you have from the movie. For me personally, I only have what I saw in the movie. Yeah. And I don't know, man. It's fun. Like he he plays like the ultimate like, hey, like I'm fucking awesome, you know, and like just kind of like how like, and then like the doors close and like people sitting there like, yeah, like I am awesome, and like you can see like their like brains rotting away, like being so up on themselves and watching everything kind of crumble around. Just actually his episode, like kind of each of the ex-boyfriends have more or less an episode.
Okay.
And then but they do a good job of like not just like ditching them and moving on to the next one. Like no one leaves. Like it all kind of
they string it all together.
And he just kind of like comes back. And I was like, oh, I didn't expect him to be like the new like 3rd lead or whatever. Like by the end, or like, you know, 4th lead or whatever. They do really good redemption stuff, and I think they didn't fix Scott Pilgrim because I don't think it was broken, but I think this is a really fun. There is talks on them doing more potentially. So, but yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Okay, there's one more thing I want to talk about before we get to the Emmys.
Yeah.
I bet you didn't catch it because I don't even know if you're aware, but did you know that True Detective season 4 started?
This past Sunday, yeah.
Yeah, did you catch it by chance?
I have not.
This
weekend, didn't have a chance.
But were you like? I'm sorry.
Have I watched them all? I have, yes.
You have watched them all.
Yeah. I like season 2 as well.
Yeah. Okay. Are you a nut? Have we talked about this? Is that why you're saying all these things? Am I just forgetting?
I don't know. I'm just goofing off.
Okay. Yeah. But you also loved season 1.
Yeah, dude. One of the greatest seasons of TV ever made.
Yeah, okay. Did you know it's a new writer-director?
Yeah, he got canceled.
What did he do?
Nick Pizzolatto there?
Yeah.
I don't know. I know. I think, I think there's some not great business. I'm pretty sure he was.
Interesting. Well, there's 6 executive producers on it. It's still McConaughey, Woody Harrelson, and then I saw Nick Pizzolatto, EP, and then I see... In the credits, and the credit, by the way, the credit song is Billie Eilish's "Bury a Friend," and I was like, that's a very interesting choice. Oh. And I see, based on the Nick Pizzolatto's, like, whatever his name is, like, True Detective. Yeah, and I was like, oh, and then it goes, written and directed by, forgive my pronunciation, Issa Lopez?
Oh.
Most known for, per IMDb, writer of Tigers Are Not Afraid, which has a stellar 6.9 on IMDb, and like nothing like Toto Mal, writer, 4.7 stars. La Boda de Valentina, 4.8 stars.
I heard the first episode's great.
Yeah, so
I know there's a lot of stupid white men, you know, doing their typical thing on the internet right now, but
yeah, for sure. So
this kind of bound to happen.
I'm gonna try and stay away from it. I'm gonna watch it. I enjoyed the pilot. It absolutely feels like it just feels like a crime show. Like,
yeah,
you know, True Detective is such a specific thing, and also the fact that it's an anthology series. It's never always like, other than the fact that like it was the one dude making it that made it kind of consistent.
Sure.
But like you could argue that like the season quality, at least the way the different seasons were received, it was kind of all over the fucking place anyway, right?
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It definitely feels like a different person made it, though.
Yeah, I did know apparently this is like going to be the most supernatural out of the four of them.
Yeah,
which is like I believe, I don't know if it's like they're not adapting the Mountains of Madness, like the H.P. Lovecraft story, but I think there's going to be a lot of Lovecraft at play here.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Like I was like, I don't remember them doing this much quote horror, light horror, but like and also potentially weird supernatural stuff. And I was like,
season 1 was the closest they ever did.
Yeah, and even then it was like
at the end they really kind of geared it up, and like the Yellow King stuff, which is like, you know, kind of like a subgenre of H.P. Lovecraft, like that author kind of came off those books. So like, yeah, they
threaded the needle. So this is why it's lightning in a bottle, right? Like like season 1 is the season 1 of True Detective, and what I'm not trying to make excuses for the guy, but like what happened between season 1 and season 2 of True Detective is like such a fantastic episode or example of like you can't recreate lightning in a bottle, right? It's like that guy was working on this project for like 8 years. And then
it's the first album problem.
Yeah, and then he birthed... No, but that is what it is. And then he birthed this beautiful thing that he somehow got creative control over. And like, and HBO made it of all fucking people. Like, it literally couldn't have gone better. And then they turn around and they say, okay, it's been 8 months. Give us season 2. Like, and what do you think happens? Right? Like,
the expectations are too high.
Yeah. And does he have another 8 years to work on it? It's like, no, he has 8 fucking months. And so it just doesn't really work, and it's not the same. But, yeah, I don't know. Some clunky dialogue at times, but I think Jodie Foster is, like, legit. But
yeah, holding it down.
Yeah, but... Yeah, I don't know. I just don't know if I'm sold on the writer-director. Like, there's a good story here.
Okay.
Just a little bumpy for a pilot of a show that is, like, a big deal. But don't get it twisted, I'm watching next week.
Time will tell. Yeah.
So yeah, time will definitely
tell. There we go. We got our new live action show we're watching week to week. Like like I'm 100% watching that week to week, like Sunday nights. Like there's nothing better than Sunday night HBO. Like,
yeah, I totally agree.
No better feeling.
And you know what we're doing during the week? At least one, trying for 2 episodes a week right now, as we're about 6 or 7 deep into The Wire.
Dave, I'm not. You're okay. How many episodes in are you?
6 or 7. We did the pilot project. We did Peaky Blinders a while back. We did.
Did you get through the Peaky Blinders?
Long time ago, like 6 to 8 months ago, maybe in a year. You know.
Okay. Yeah.
Fucking time warp of getting old. Sam's going to listen to this and tell me like, oh yeah, that was 2.5 years ago. Like that's probably what it was, dude.
Yeah, I hear.
But I was like, no, I'm pretty sure it was like a month ago. But anyway, so then we did Sopranos, and then we did The Wire, and then like the next night it was like, okay, which one do you feel like watching? And it was like The Wire, The Wire again, and it like, yeah, I don't know. I heard some people be like, oh, it never really grabbed me, but like, for whatever reason, like I don't know if it like has us hooked. Can't wait to see more. So much as it is like, they're telling an engaging story, and I'm not like dying to know, but every time we have an hour, it's like, is there anything better on? Well, even if True Detective takes that spot, it'll take that spot for 5 weeks on Sundays, and that's like it. So
never be watched again. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So
Wire is
this is a long-term watch because it's a long show. It took us a year to get through Mad Men, but that was 7 seasons.
Yeah, there's only 12 episodes every season.
Yeah, so I think that's the move is like The Wire, sprinkle it on a little True Detective. Life's good. Good stuff on TV, man.
If you want to borrow the Blu-rays, dude, I'll give them to you.
Oh, like it's true.
Leanna found I have all the DVDs. It's my all-time favorite show. Like
really.
Oh, dude, I fucking love The Wire. I'll never forget. There was years and years ago. We were up in Kingston for New Year's, and everyone's like getting out. Like, Grant, why are you still in your PJs? I'm like, I just got a copy of season 3 of The Wire on DVD, and I'm staying home and I'm watching this like all night. Like it's like it took me forever to find that 3rd season, but at the time. But yeah, Leanna was just on it was like a Facebook local group. Like, yeah, we're giving away sealed brand new copy of The Wire on Blu-ray.
That's
free.
Fucked.
And I was like, Leanna, go,
get it.
Yeah. And like 20 minutes later,
slide down the fireman pole.
But freaking The Bunk. Oh my god, McNulty's like the ultimate bastard. I love it.
Yeah. Did they do well? Okay, here's your segue. Did they do well critically, like Emmys and stuff?
Critically, I don't think like award noms. I don't think so. But it was like the most talked about show. Like water cooler stuff literally came, no pun intended here, but like literally came down to like the wire of like if they're going to get renewed each season. Like David Simon had to fight like tooth and nail to like get like that next season. Let me finish the story. And like it's like one of the most lauded shows of all time. And to go back and read the interviews and all the stuff, like the hoops they had to jump through to even like get this show done.
Yeah, two nominations for writing, no wins at the Emmys. That's it. But what is it? 9.3 IMDb rating.
Iconic.
Unreal. It's
is
not as unlucky, but quite close. As Better Call Saul, which has finished its Emmy run with a whopping 53 nominations and 0 wins. That's tough.
Breaks my fucking heart.
That
Rhea Seehorn deserves more.
That's a rough go, dude. Yeah. R.I.P. man.
She didn't even get nominated for lead actress in drama series.
Who are you hoping would?
Rhea Seehorn, or maybe she's her supporting. She plays.
No, she
I'm blanking on her name. His girlfriend there.
The blonde?
Yeah, Kim.
Kim. Okay, yeah.
Kim Wexler.
Supporting. Okay, well, let's just talk Emmys. I'll just say, like, I think so far this year, and correct me anybody if I'm wrong, but it seems like Golden Globes, Critics' Choice Awards, and Emmys kind of largely agreed on winners. Like, I'm sure there's like a couple deviations here and there, but it really seems like there was a lot of overlap. So we're just gonna look at the Emmy list. I will say though, Grant, I had a mouthful to say last week about Joe Coy's performance, his monologue and all that stuff at the.
He's doubling down. Do you see all that?
Yeah, he's a little bitch, dude. Can't take the L.
No.
And it's so funny because, a comic I'm not a huge fan of, but a comic nonetheless, Chelsea Handler handled her monologue at the Critics' Choice Awards.
Oh, she hosted the Critics' Choice.
Okay. And 10-minute monologue crushed.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, probably not apples to apples.
Sure.
Maybe she had more time to prep or whatever. She threw a little shade Joe Coy's way, though, because she crushed. She had some good quips.
Well, they used to date.
Oh, really?
That was like a thing they had. I think that was like they had a relationship previously.
That's funny because she makes some joke, crowd loves it. She goes, "Thank you, my writers wrote that one," and I was like, "Ha ha ha!"
That's so funny. Honestly, I had no idea the Emmys were even this week. I was like, I was on Twitter at one point, and
I don't even know who hosted. I haven't seen the monologue yet.
Anthony Anderson.
Yeah, have you heard anything?
No, I literally saw like so won the Emmy, and I was like, "Oh, is this like a preliminary Emmy thing?"
Yeah.
And it was like it would have been
Sunday night.
No, it wasn't Sunday. It was last night, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. Sorry.
Yeah, Monday night. Why? Anyways.
Yeah, I don't know.
But because Critics' Choice was Sunday, maybe.
Yes, it was. I think that's what it was. Yeah, it was updated. Yeah, it was. So yeah, back to back. Basically, it was the Succession and the Bear Show.
Yeah.
In terms of winners.
Beef did good too.
Beef. I haven't seen a fucking minute of that show. Have you?
That's on my holiday watch.
Oh yeah,
it has now gone to the top of my list.
You watch that and report back on whether, because Ali Wong, also a legit comic, by the way. Stephen Yeun, they both picked up wins at Globes and Emmys, so shout out.
Limited series they won.
Yeah.
Obi-Wan Kenobi was nominated.
For what? For what?
Limited or anthology series. Get fucking real, dude. It was so bad.
Obi-Wan. That's funny, eh?
Yeah.
Dahmer was, yeah. You know what's crazy is look for supporting female actor in drama or comedy. What is White Lotus?
Supporting actress in limited anthology. Okay, comedy series.
Yeah, here we go. Supporting actress in a drama series. Grant, there are 8 nominations here.
Yeah.
5 are from White Lotus.
Dude.
5.
Did you watch that season?
Not a minute. Haven't seen any
Sam
of it.
did though.
Sam
you
watched
should.
it. She's seen
you
it
should
all.
watch it. It was so funny. Fucking Leanna was telling her coworkers about it, and they're like, "How do we get it?" And like, no one can like figure out how to get onto Crave and like get access to the White Lotus.
Yo, that app is an embarrassment. I can't believe how bad it is.
No comment. But yeah, so like we were like pumping it up big time at fucking work Christmas party, and everyone's like, "Oh, we all want to watch it." Like, none of them can figure out how to like get the app working and like watching it. But great show. I like season 2. Season 1 was better, I think, but season 2 was a lot of fun.
Best directing for a comedy series, Christopher Storer won for The Bear. I wonder if they submitted Seven Fishes or if it's just like the entirety of the series for directing.
For directing? Oh yeah, it just says episode review.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh, no.
Review, that would have been the finale, no?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, okay. That is the episode title. So yeah, I guess they didn't submit that one.
Was it not 4 Fishes? That's weird.
Yeah.
Wow, that was a good episode too. Yeah, that was really liking the
drama series. Obviously, Succession wins. Comedy series, obviously, The Bear wins.
Rhea Seehorn did get nominated for.
Oh, she did. Who she lose to? White Lotus.
Coolidge. Yeah.
Yeah. Lead actress in a drama series, Sarah Snook. Lead actor in a drama series, Kieran Culkin again. Mm-hmm. This time, more serious speech. He threw his jacket on the ground as he got up there. Nice. He was trying to do up his button, and he was like scrambling to get it. And he just said, "Fuck it," and he just took it and threw it off on stage.
Good for him.
We already mentioned the beef stuff.
Alan Wong, Steven Yeun.
Nothing really crazy here. Critics' Choice also does movies. Emmys is obviously TV only.
Actually, Scott Pilgrim won at the Critics' Choice.
Oh, there you go.
Category.
A lot of the same winners as Golden Globes at Critics' Choice. Robert Downey Jr. supporting. Best visual effects, Oppenheimer. Let me see. Christopher Nolan, best director.
Yeah.
Best supporting, Robert Downey Jr. Actress, Emma Stone. Poor Things.
A lot of weird RDJ interviews coming out the past couple days for leading up to probably the Oscar announcements.
Yeah, for sure.
Not loving those, to be honest.
Paul Giamatti beat out. Best actor. They didn't even have. They did have Cillian here. Paul Giamatti won at the critics for The Holdovers.
Old people love old movies about teachers. And,
back to the RDJ thing. What do you like? Just like.
Well, it's like I understand. Like it's just it's marketing and they're trying to build up this and that. But like the current roundabout of like, I didn't feel very seen. I did some of my best work in those Iron Man movies, and it's come on, man! Like you're in this movie doing something, and you're kind of, griping and moaning about what was like. You're in like the big, like for what they were, awesome. You were amazing, but like you don't need to double dip. Like you made your money. Like shut up. I don't know. It's like the Hollywood stuff that annoys the shit out of me. Like, I don't know why it doesn't matter, but
no. You're right. You know who should host the Oscars? Because he just hosted the Governor Awards, which is like the creative Oscar.
John Mulaney?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And God, he's good. And
he is so good.
He won.
He looks so tan.
So weirdly specific. He won for Baby J. So that makes 2 that he's won. And I remember talking about that, so I won't do it again. But he had a thing at the Governor's Awards. What's the lady's name who was nominated for an Oscar for Black Panther 2?
Oh,
give me that deep pull, Grant. I know you know it.
Angela Bassett.
He goes, Angela Bassett was nominated for an Oscar in a Marvel movie. He goes, that's like winning a Pulitzer Prize for a Reddit comment. And they cut to Robert Downey Jr. of all people. I was like, let's go, dude.
Yeah. So I don't know. The
RDJ thing, he had some good moments for sure. Like I really think his best performance by far is in Civil War. But to your point, like he's doing something in Oppenheimer. His role as Tony Stark is really like towing the line of like just refined Robert Downey Jr. Like he's barely acting in those.
It's showing up to work, like it's,
and
it's not quite quitting there, but like you're there, you're present, but you're also not like
he acted in Oppenheimer, and it's so funny. Like it's kind of a backhanded compliment that Christopher Nolan keeps saying on like because all these people have talking points, right? They do a billion interviews. It's like you're asked the same question over and over again. You're gonna end up giving a lot of the same answers. And one of his great quotes in casting RDJ in Oppenheimer is like, I think, like, you know, he's such a star and he's so big that people forget that he's one of the great actors of our time. And he's saying that because, like, you haven't seen that in a decade. And he is, like, as evidenced by how well he's doing this award season, he is one of the best actors working today. But, like, you may not know it if you've only seen movies from the last decade, which is kind of the point. So I don't know. Anything else really big here that's worth mentioning? I don't think so.
Not really. Oh, Mike Birbiglia was nominated.
Best comedy special. Yeah, I mean, slightly better list here for Critics' Choice than the Globes. But yeah.
No, I don't know. I think because we were talking last week, it's the end of the month. They're announcing most likely the Oscar.
I think it's the 24th.
That is the list I'm looking forward to, and I am gonna pick. I cannot wait. It's so funny. There's so many movies. It's probably been like the hardest year for me. Of like, there's so much I want to see, but it's just kind of like, due to like the writer's strike and all this stuff, everything's got pushed, right? So like all the stuff that's been talked about, people behind the scenes have seen and have been talking about it. It's been months and months and months. I've been hearing about it and listening on conversations on it. And it's like, I fucking want to see the movie and I can't, so it's so funny. Like, you would saw Poor Things. It's like one of the ones, it's coming out, and Zone of Interest is very high up on my list too. But I think they announced that like freaking 5 years ago. Finally came out. But
sorry, Grant.
Ring a ding ding. Oh, it is what it is. But anyways, no, I don't know. It's I know people goof on the Oscars and it's all self-congratulatory there, but it's one of my favorite nights of the year.
Like I remember we did like a poll on our Instagram at Part-Time Otaku Podcast, which you can follow now, and on TikTok. But I remember I did like a poll being like, do you care about award season? People are like, you know what I mean? But like, I do think, and yes, it's like you can still make the argument that like they've grown political, but they kind of always have been. Yeah. But I still think more often than not, especially the Oscars, it is still a great indication of quality. Like what came out this year that is like challenging and like fucking good, and like there's like without a doubt every year there's like one or two that don't fucking belong and are kind of there for like dumb reasons, but like they're easy to spot, and then the rest of them it's like, oh shit, like I wouldn't have seen Poor Things if I didn't know about all this hype being generated because people expect it to perform critically and during award season. Like you know what I mean? And without this silly award season shit, I wouldn't have seen it at all. And like I'm so glad that I did. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm excited. When it comes out, we should try and like you said, make a little list, see what we can see, maybe do a little pool, or maybe make some predictions. We should have a predictions episode, or just a section of an episode, or whatever.
Yes, put it in the book.
Sold.
That's all I've got, man. I had a pretty late week.
No, man, it's good. We did over an hour. I think this was fun. I'm loving this flow.
Yeah,
we've got.
Yes.
Man, I gotta be honest. I put up the Q&A on the Instagram. I completely forgot to check it. I don't even know if anybody submitted a Q. And if you did, our bad. We'll hit you next week. But yeah, thank you so much for listening. We'll be back. Wait, am I here next week, Grant? I'm not here. I'm in Texas because I'm just going down there to protest, I guess. No, I'm kidding. No, but I gotta go to a conference. Grant may or may not do an episode.
I might do a solo pod next week.
Who knows? And if not, we'll be back the next week. But either way, keep an eye. Subscribe to us on Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you get your podcasts. You will be notified, okay, when we are back. And we will be back. Thank you so much for listening. Grant, you may go ahead and say the thing.
Bye, guys.
Cheers.